Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Naruto was warrior of Soul Calibur and Awakens Neji seals. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Chapter 1 begins at the Chunin exams. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms. I forgot what the full name of the technique was called, and with that Neji hit Naruto, sending him rolling across the dirt. Naruto stopped, head on his stomach and laid there not moving. Neji had a confident look on his face and looked at the announcer. Call the match. He's not getting up. He was about to call the match but Naruto slowly and weakly stood up, smirking at Neji. Impossible. How could you be standing? I sealed all your chakra points. Everyone expected Naruto to start some speech about not giving up but he didn't. He just looked at Neji, eyes widened. You what? He yelled. I sealed off your chakra points. You should give up. No. Do have any idea what you've done? You damaged the seal. He grabs his head in pain. She's trying to break free. He said at the last part, gritting his teeth and clenching his head. The ones who knew of the Naruto being the vessel of Kyuubi were shocked and a little scared. The ones who didn't were confused. What are you babbling on about? Grr. What I'm saying is that the beast that attacked this place 13 years ago is trying to break free. He yelled that last part in pain. Everyone was shocked. And I mean everyone. The Konoha ninjas looked like they were about to piss themselves, and the foreign ninjas looked like they were about to run out the stadium, well except Gaara and Yugito. She's here for what's going to happen in Chapter 3, they were just shocked that the Kyuubi vessel was here. Yelled Naruto clenching his head. He was on his knees letting out screams of bloody murder. He was suddenly enveloped in red chakra. The earth beneath him was shaking and to the people it felt as if an earthquake was happening. And with that demonic scream the earth beneath him exploded, causing chunks of dirt to fly everywhere and a big gust of smoke. Neji had to shield his eyes as he was still down there. Something suddenly came rushing out of the smoke like a bat. Out of hell, mainly because for the past 13 years her life was hell. What everyone saw scared the shit of them. I'm free. I finally free, she yelled out of pure joy. Jiraiya and Hiruzen were about to take action but thought against it, not wanting to anger Fox. They decided to let this play out and if thing got dangerous, even a little, then take action. Kyuubi continued to celebrate until she heard Naruto wither in pain. She looked over and saw him on the ground on his knees with his fingers scraping the ground. Her eyes suddenly turned dangerously dark red and she charged. She hit him in the face with her claw extended, sending him rolling and leaving 4 new marks on his cheek. She ran at him to kick him on the ground but he grabbed her foot and twisted to the right, causing her fall on her right side, but she quickly recovered. Naruto stood up with an angry expression on his face. What do you think you're doing, wretched servant? Just because you are free from the seal does not mean you are free from me. He said angrily. Shut up. I'm going to kill you for everything you've done to me. Me, the Kyuubi no Kitsune. She yelled and got into a battle stance. Naruto took off his jacket, revealing some muscle and said, Do you really think you can stop me? He said and eyes suddenly turned purple and he got into a battle stance as well. What's going down there? What has Naruto been really doing? Hiruzen. What the hell does Naruto think he's doing? This is Kyuubi for Kami's sake. Jiraiya. How could this boy challenge Kyuubi? He should be no match for her. Yugito. Mother is yelling for this one's blood more than ever before. Gaara. This boy is challenging the Kyuubi. He must be powerful or stupid. Orochimaru. Kyuubi extend her hand and in a flash of red chakra a sword appeared in his hand. The blade was 4 feet long and 3 inches in width. The hilt had a fox head with its mouth open. The handles on each side of the sword were supposed to be its ears. It had a red aura around it and the eyes had red jewels in them. Or you could use your imagination for the fox sword because I'm not good at describing certain things. A purple aura started to form around Naruto and when it ceased, there stood the Azure Knight. He looks like Soul Calibur 3 Nightmare. He has Soul Calibur 3 Soul Edge, the real Soul Edge, not Phantom. Offer your soul, he yelled and charged, along with Kyuubi. They closed the gap and were locked in a clash. The next chapter will be more like a flashback to explain what had happened to make Naruto the way he is. It will also explain why Kyuubi attacked the village. Review please. Chapter 2. This chapter explains how Naruto became the way he is and why Kyuubi attacked. Because I don't want it to be Naruto just suddenly has soul edge for no reason and made Kyuubi his servant. Let's begin. The Uzumakis were once a powerful clan. They weren't known as the Uzumaki clan during the beginning of the elemental counties. They were known as the Akumu clan. The reason they had that name was not just because it was self-claimed. They had earned the name. One man, Erda Mon in azure armor had attacked a village and killed all who inhabited it. He called himself Nightmare and earned the name the Azure Knight, and welcomed all who contained evil and twisted hearts and goals, calling his village Kurayami Village. Needless to say, the village had become so packed with missing nin that they constantly had to expand the village. By the time the village was complete, it had been ranked the #1 most powerful village, due to its reputation of its size and inhabitants ranking from D rank to S rank. Most were criminals and ninja, though some were people looking to start anew. The village had 3 academies. The Weapons Academy for those who wanted to master any specific style of weaponry, the Ninja Academy for those who want to be a ninja, and the Warriors Academy for those who wanted to master the art of weaponry and be a ninja. Those who didn't have Charka joined the Weapons Academy, and those who did joined the Ninja Academy. Some joined the Warriors Academy to become the best for their village, most becoming part of Nightmare's elite special forces, the Night Terrors. Their job was to scope out the village for intruders and were sent on suicide missions. No one who ever left on a mission ever died, which is why they were the elite. Nightmare had no time for weaklings. Those who were weak, which was rare, were either banished or put to death. That's why the villagers worked hard and became strong. The village had become so strong that the other 5 villages grew jealous. They had just become villages and there was already one that towered over them with power. Unacceptable. So the Cages had their first ever meeting on the summit and they formed the first and possibly last, Konoha Iwa Kumo Kiri Suna, alliance. The Kurayami village was strong, but could not stand against an all-out attack from the 5 great shinobi villages. They did not win without consequence though, 50% of their forces were decimated. The 5 Cages had challenged Nightmare to battle. Even against the odds of 1-on-5 he accepted the challenge. Not out of overconfidence, but he wanted to die like the warrior instead of dying like a bitch. Amazingly, he stood against them for 1 hour before dying. After the battle they made a mistake, they didn't secure Soul Edge. Nightmare's wife, Kira, his son and daughter had secured Soul Edge and fled to water-surrounded large island and began to rebuild. They renamed themselves Uzumaki for safety reasons and lived in peace for years. That was until the Kyuubi attacked their village trying to destroy Soul Edge and killed everyone except Kushina, who escaped with the sword. She had sealed it into a scroll and laid low. It was until the 3rd Great Shinobi War that she took action. She stormed the battlefield with her grandmother's Eisern Drossel, Kira's Ringblade, and charged the battlefield. She slaughtered the Iwa ninjas because she decided that being on the losing team would be more fun. The Konoha ninjas were confused as to who this woman was. Was she supposed to be reinforcements? It wasn't until the 4th Hokage came onto the battlefield that the Konoha ninjas came out of their stupor and attacked. It was at day that the names, Yellow Flash, and Red Death, were heard around the land. After the Iwa ninjas had fled, everyone looked at a blooded Kushina wanting to know who she was. "Hey there, I just wanted to have some fun. It's been a while since I had a good battle," she said in a cheerful voice. Everyone there just looked at her in shock. She just helped end a war and that's all she could say. "By the way, my name's Kushina Uzumaki. Well, I'm the Minato Namikaze. Can you come with us? We have some questions for you." Okay. They arrived back to the village where everyone was cheering Minato and Kushina for their deeds. Minato and Kushina arrived at the Hokage Tower and they questioned Kushina's motives. She told them about Whirlpool and how the Kyuubi had destroyed it. They were shocked. The Kyuubi, demon of legend, was real. They asked if there were any other survivors and she replied no. They had finished questioning her and let her become a ninja of the village and put her at Jonin rank. They wanted to put her in Anbu but she declined. It was then that Minato was elected Hokage. After that Minato and Kushina had gotten closer and became a couple. Jiraiya had started teasing Minato for being with a crazy chick, which kept him getting his ass kicked by Kushina. They had been going out for 2 years now and Kushina was accepting soon. The day finally came but something horrible happened. The Kyuubi was attacking. Minato explained to Kushina what he had to do and she agreed, but not before writing a letter to Naruto. Minato grabbed Naruto and headed out to the battlefield. In the hospital the scroll she wrote the letter in stared glowing with a purple aura around it and it then started hovering. It floated out the window to the carnage where Minato's lifeless body lay. It then went over to Naruto and started phasing inside of Naruto's stomach where the seal was. Back at the hospital Kushina's last word before dying were, "Live on. Live on is nightmare and avenge our people, my son." -5 years later. Naruto was just kicked out of the orphanage and was now walking the streets at night. He could be seen digging in a dumpster trying to find food. He was unsuccessful in his hunt for food and sat against a wall. He then put his head down and passed out from hunger. Mindscape. Naruto awoke to find himself in a sewer. Not wanting to stay he started walking straight. Hitch surprised him because of how easy it was. He also noticed he wasn't hungry and wondered why. He continued walking and stopped in front of a giant cage. He looked and saw a paper with the word, "Seal," on it. He was about to walk in when he felt a presence behind him. He turned around to see a sword with a big demonic eye in the center of it. He was freaked out at first, but then calmed down since it didn't seem harmful. Well, in his mind anyway. It suddenly spoke. "Hate," it said. "What?" Naruto said, confused. "Do you hate them? The ones who dare cause you harm? You mean the villagers?" "Yeah, they're always mean to me and pick on me for no reason. I didn't do anything to them." He yelled and started crying. "Stop it, boy. To cry means you are weak. The weak will only die. Only the strong my live. Can you teach me to be strong? Do you desire revenge?" "What's that?" "Revenge is if someone does something bad to you, you do something back. It's like payback." "Yay, I want revenge. But how? I mean, the whole village hates me. How am I supposed to pay them all back?" "Training, boy. With enough training you'll be unstoppable." "What about the old man? He's always nice to me and he's my friend." "Friend? You don't need friends, boy. All you need is power. Besides, if he is your friend, he wouldn't be lying to you about your parents." This surprised Naruto. My parents? He can't be lying." He said what? That he didn't know who they were. He has been lying to you." "That's not true. He would never lie to me." "Fine, you leave no choice. Touch this orb. It's some of your mother's memories." A door appeared on a wall next to them. Naruto walked into the door and saw everything. "And now here is my memories." This caused Naruto to become angry. Those coward why humans had destroyed his people just because his people were stronger. When it was over, Naruto had a look of rage on his face. "Now boy, before you get angry at the humans, remember the village was mostly filled with humans. You will need allies." Naruto took a few deep breaths and said, "You're right. When I do get strong enough, the world will once again know the name Nightmare." "Good. It is time for you to wake up." The outside world. Naruto awoke to see it raining. He was still hungry, but now he was going to do something about it. He picked himself up and headed to the nearest restaurant. It was dark inside and seemed empty. Good. He bought a pipe from the dumpster with him and threw it into the window. He walked in and went to the back. He opened a freezer and saw raw meat everywhere. He had took some by taking off his shirt, or what was left of it anyway, and sat some of the meat on top. He then wrapped it around the meat and tied a knot. He picked it up and headed to an alley. He then unwrapped the meat and started eating it. Sadly, the raw meat was better than anything the orphanage ever gave him. Things were starting to look up for Naruto. Well, that was a long chapter, well, long for me anyway. It looks like chapter 3 and maybe other chapters will be a continuation of this instead of it getting back to the fight. Sorry to those who wanted it to get to the fight fast, but this has to be done. Review please. Chapter 3. As Naruto got older, his training had gotten stricter. He had grown muscle and now had the height he was supposed to have instead of looking like a shrimp. He'd also grown to respect Soul Edge as his master, and Soul Edge said when the time was right, they'd fuse. He'll become the new nightmare like his mother had wanted, and he'll do whatever he wanted, causing much chaos across the land. One time while in the mindscape he was training and was very tired. The reason he was tired was because Soul Edge had made so even training in the Min Will could make him physically tired so he could become stronger mentally. While he was training, a orange fox tail had shot out at him. It took him by surprise and grabbed him by the ankle and dragged him into the cage. He had known of the Kyuubi for quite some time now and tried to walk into the cage, but some kind of unknown force had kept him from entering. He kept trying but it was futile. Now that he had the chance, he was going to try and convince the beast to join him in his quest for destruction. He was now in the cage and what he saw was a fox woman. She was pretty but Naruto didn't care. He is after all only 8 years old. Right now all that mattered was making her his ally. His dragging had ceased only to find himself being choked. "What do you want, servant of Soul Edge?" she asked in a cold voice. He was trying to say something but he couldn't get it out because of how tight she held him. She let him go to allow him to speak. He fell to the ground and began coughing. When he was finished he looked at her and said, "I want you to be my ally in my conquest for destruction. Surely you, the Kyuubi, a demon who could destroy mountains with one strike of her tail, is interested. I know you attacked my village of Whirlpool to destroy Soul Edge, but we could put that aside and make a partnership. What do you say?" he replied. He was answered with a hit to right side of his face by one of her tails. "Let us get one thing straight, boy. I am allies with no one, I serve no one, and I help on one. I don't fear you or Soul Edge. The only reason I tried to destroy the sword is because of you humans are nothing but power-hungry beings who would do anything to obtain it. That sword is evil and must be vanquished. You, descendant of the original nightmare, will fail in your quest." She replied with hate. "Is that your final answer?" he asked in a too calm tone. She just growled at him. Naruto then smirked and with a snap of his fingers a necklace appeared around her neck. She looked confused and grabbed at it ready to take it off when she received a painful shock. She fell to her knees and looked at Naruto angrily. "You like it? This will make you realize your place. You serve me now, and you don't have a say in the matter, You will give me your charka and will obey all my commands. Any objections?" he asked. Kyuubi was about to attack him when another painful shock went through his body. Naruto just smiled and left for further training. As he was walking away he heard Kyuubi say, "You will pay for this, Naruto. Be certain of that," she said coldly. Naruto just chuckled and went back to his training. -4 years later. Naruto had been acting like an idiot ever since the night he met Soul Edge, and it paid off. He had to conceal his true strength, which is why he is ranked dead last. He made sure he was dead last but did enough to pass. That rhymes. The Bunshin no Jutsu was tricky but Naruto found a way around it. He had created his own type of clone technique. Yami Bunshin no Jutsu was a jutsu that gathered the darkness of shadows and they formed into an exact replica of the user except its total blackness. Naruto had passed the graduation exams with jutsu and was now being assigned a team. However, lately Naruto had been having urges. He didn't know what they were but decided to ask Soul Edge. Maybe it knew what it was. In the mindscape. "Master, can you explain to me what these urges are? They are really starting to annoy me," he said simply. Soul Edge knew exactly what it was. He decided it would be best to show Naruto what it was then explain it to him. Well, when a man and woman wants to mate with each other, this happens. The door that Naruto once went through had opened again and Naruto walked in. -30 minutes later, Naruto walked out with bulge sticking out of his pants. "Oh, so I need a mate," he said to Soul Edge. "No boy, you don't need to have a mate, not yet anyway. This is your human hormones since you are going through what humans call puberty. Luckily for you, unlike most young boys, you have a way to deal with your hormonal frustrations. It's in that cage right there. You can mate with her until the other girl you are fond of is ready for you," Soul Edge explained. Naruto then proceeded to walk into the cage. The Kyuubi was chained to a wall covered in blood. For every torture Naruto would just leave her there to heal at a slow pace. Her clothes looked as if she sent through World War III and was hit by every bullet. For the past 4 years he's been torturing her and she still isn't broken. Not surprising since her pride won't let her be a servant to anyone, let alone a human. The necklace was still around her neck and Naruto would shock her just for fun. Naruto looked at he with a smile. How have you been doing? Good, I hope. Kyuubi just raised her head and spit in his face. Naruto used his shirt to wipe it. He just smiled. Was that really necessary? I hope you enjoyed the bako. Say normally I wouldn't have tolerated that. But I have a special treat for you. He grinned evilly. That grin scared Kyuubi. That could only mean he either has an extreme punishment or something new. With a snap of his fingers the chains unleashed her and she stumbled to the ground. She was healed for some reason and she wondered why. The only reason Naruto would heal her is because he has something new planned. This wasn't good on her part. Naruto started to walk towards her. He stopped in front of he and said, "We could do this the easy way or the hard way. Your choice. What do you want?" She asked grimly. For her, the almighty Kyuubi, to be in such a state, was unimaginable. Please don't do it. I beg of you. She may be strong-willed demon, but she was still a woman. Even he toughest of women would quiver at such an idea. You don't have a choice. He then smacked her in the face causing her to fall to the ground. He then grabbed her leg and dragged her to a circle-shaped bed which was queen-sized. He then reached for her arms and threw her on the bed. She had tears falling from her eyes and was begging Naruto to stop, but he didn't listen. Chapter 4. This are the thoughts of some of the people watching the event unfold and funny comments from the author which really are completely necessary. That's Naruto. No way. Hiba, yes way. Is that really Naruto? This is really troublesome. Shikamaru, troublesome indeed. This boy. No. Demon, what power? Tamari HMF. Blondes. Just kidding. He looks more scarier than Gaara, and that's saying something. Konkuro. My insects are going wild. They fear him. Shino, bugs have fear. He's still not better than Sasuke. Sakura, Ino, will they ever learn? I'm not hungry anymore. Choji, shocker. Master has finally unleashed his power. We're going to have so much fun. Unknown female voice will be revealed. Orochimaru looks weak compared to him. Enko, he looks weak compared to anything. This energy, it's very unyouthful. Made a guy, I wonder what evil dark veil energy is youthful. He's so fucking powerful. Why the fuck am I getting horny? Chiyuya HMF. Redheads. Just kidding again. I don't even know the stereotype for them. Is there one? This power. It's pure evil. Kurenai, what else is new Captain Obvious? Maybe I made the wrong choice. Orochimaru, yep. Choice the wrong young boy. What's going here? Naruto's been hiding his true power, but why? Jiraiya, does that really need an answer? Jiraiya. Sign. It seems I have failed Naruto. Hiruzen Sarutobi, sure have. Mother is screaming for his blood more than she ever did for anyone. Gaara, I didn't think that was possible. Whoa, he's fighting against Kyuubi and is still alive. How is that possible? Nibi is screaming for me to kill him. Should I interfere? Yugito, I think the question is should she run? I'm not good at fighting scenes but I'll try my best. I hope it satisfies your expectations. Also I'm going to refer to Naruto as Nightmare when in battle. The clash ended with both warriors taking steps back. Nightmare was the first to recover and rush at he with a downward slash. She rolled out of the way and did a backflip as Nightmare tried to cut her in half from the waist. She then got into a defensive stance and said, "I will you destroy once and for all," she said and jumped in the air. She did a flip and came down to strike Nightmare only to have him block it. They were once again in clash mode. Once this is over, I will absorb your soul and I'll be the most powerful being in the world, said Nightmare. I'd like to see you try. She then put chakra into her arms and pushed forward. Nightmare was caught off guard by the sudden strength. This giving Kyuubi the chance to break the clash. She gave a roundhouse kick Nightmare's head which connected, sending him off balance. She took her chance and swept Nightmare off his feet with a low kick. He hit the ground with a grunt and was dazed for a bit. He snapped out of it when Kyuubi went to stab him in the stomach. Nightmare blocked it by using Soul Edge. He then grabbed her arm with his demonic giant claw and punched her with his normal hand, hard, which sent her rolling. She rolled a few times and laid there for a while, trying to focus herself. Nightmare up and shook his head. In the stands, everyone was surprised. Even though the battle just started, it was already with Team Suna. Tamari and Konkuro were watching the battle when Gaara suddenly started walking. They both looked at each other and shakingly asked, "Where are you going?" "None of your business," he said and continued walking. With Yugito, who came here alone to prove herself, felt a presence behind her. She turned and saw that crazy red-headed kid. She put her guard on and asked, "What do you want?" She asked, ready for a battle. "I know what you hold. And I know what your demon is asking of you," he said coldly. Yugito was shocked and was about to question him until she realized something. He's lust for blood, being a psychopath, and this mother he keeps referring to. He's a Jinchuriki. She quickly got over the shock as there were more important things to attend to. "So, should we help out or should we wait?" she asked. "We should wait. We don't know what he's capable of. What I do know is that he's not alone. He has an ally somewhere." The moment he transformed, the same energy from him had spiked somewhere in the stands. It left just as fast as it came, which is why you didn't sense it. Be prepared. He was done with what he had to say, so he went back to his siblings. Yugito took all this in. He has an ally. Well then, I guess I know when to attack. Whoever this person is, they picked the wrong person to serve, cause I'm gonna kick this bitch or bastard's ass. Back to the fight. Nightmare ran forward with Soul Edge in the air and brought it down, only to have Kyuubi roll out of the way. She was back on her feet and got on the offensive. She turned around and did a jump, doing a backflip, and landed behind Nightmare. Nightmare turned around and swung his sword, only to have Kyuubi duck and kick him in the chest. Nightmare stumbled a bit, giving Kyuubi a chance to strike at him. Nightmare parried the strike by grabbing the sword with his demonic claw. He pulled and punched her in the stomach with his demonic claw. She gripped her stomach and fell to her knees. Nightmare brought his leg back and kicked her in the face, sending her sliding across the dirt. Kyuubi came to a halt and grabbed her mouth, wiping some blood of it. "Wah ha ha ha, is that all you got, you cur?" he said confidently. Kyuubi growled and disappeared. Nightmare's eyes widened, forgetting this was the knee. NJA Naruto and Soul Edge fused, so he will forget he's fighting a ninja when they're in sword combat, and paid the price. Kyuubi appeared behind him and kicked him behind his knee, making him fall to the ground on his right knee. She then punctured his left shoulder, causing him yell in pain. Nightmare then backhanded her or bitch slapped her with his demonic claw, making her fall. Naruto then rolled out of the way and grabbed his left arm. "Shit, I underestimated her. I have to. Remember, she's made of chakra, so she's naturally a ninja. This makes things more complicated. Don't worry, I won't kill you too fast. It's gonna be nice and slow." And she launched at him. In an unknown location. "So, he has resin once again. My chance to end my curse of immortality has once again presented itself. However, I will need Soul Calibur as well. I must go back in time and bring those who are of use back to this time," said a hooded figure and opened a portal. Back to the arena. Kyuubi was winning because of Nightmare's overconfidence. She was on the offensive and all Nightmare could do was dodge, block, or get a minor wound. "What do I do? Wait, I know." Kyuubi struck at him again, only or Nightmare to deflect it and counter by grabbing her. He hit the hilt of his sword on her neck while saying, "It's over." He then grabbed her with his claw by the neck and said, "Cower in fear." And threw her to the ground behind him. If you don't know, that's his grapple attack in Soul Calibur 3. Kyuubi was on her back when Nightmare put his foot on top of her, pinning her down. Drown in the cesspool of darkness. Nightmare raised his sword to jab her in the stomach when the ground beneath them exploded. It sent Nightmare flying. Nightmare stood back up and saw Kyuubi being surrounded by 9 red chakra tails. She had an evil look on her face. All Nightmare could say was, "Oh she," before Kyuubi reared her hand back and shot it forward towards Nightmare. It punched him and sent him crashing through a wall and deep into the forest. Kyuubi just ran with amazing speed after him, leaving a trail of broken earth. While Kyuubi totally owned Nightmare in the forest, the most unlikely of things happened. Someone in a poof of smoke appeared on the battlefield. No, make that 2 people. Late. For our match, said an awestruck Kakashi. The arena was in shambles. Slash marks were on the ground. Holes and chunks of earth everywhere. It looked like a war zone. The guy with the toothpick came and said, "You mean, you didn't feel that raw evil power?" He said in disbelief. Sasuke was the one to speak up. "What are you talking about?" The question was interrupted when everyone heard a loud, "Fook." And, bam, came Nightmare through another wall. Kakashi grabbed Sasuke and teleported to the stands while Genma did the same. Nightmare's armor was covered in burn marks. He was covered in marks so much instead of the azure night, it'll be the dark night. It was Kyuubi came in and was on top of Nightmare. She then started to punch him so fast all you saw was a red blur. Dirt was flying everywhere and cracks were starting to form in the earth. It looked as if they were sinking into the ground. Kyuubi then stopped and started to pant. She then put a load of chakra into her right fist and brought it down onto Nightmare's face. The ground exploded and a thick smoke started to form. Everyone was like, "Holy shit." When the smoke cleared we could see Kyuubi standing over a defeated Nightmare, expected a different outcome, huh? She breathing deep and went to retrieve her sword she had dropped. She picked it up and once again stood over Naruto. "For all you've done to me, for all I've went through with you, I have defeated you. And now I will kill you." She raised her sword but had to duck when a ring blade had been thrown from behind her. She turned around only to receive a kick to the face. She fell and rolled away from the newcomer. "Damn it, I forgot about that bitch," she thought angrily. How could she forget? She was as twisted as Naruto was. "Hey Fox, did ya miss me? Naruto talks all about you," she said in a way to happy voice. "Hinata Hyuga, what a pleasure. What a fucking long chapter. My first long chapter, so be happy. I started Monday and ended it Friday. Fucking school. Tell me how the battle was, I hope it didn't suck. The reason Hinata is in because smiles gave me the idea, so I'm going with it. Also Yuya's going to be with Naruto too. Can anyone give me some suggestions on how they meet? Review please." Chapter 5. I'm fucking back after months. I hope none of you are mad, which I doubt, but anyway be glad I updated. I've just been so drained. I'm not gonna use that as an excuse since it's been months, but I hope you guys are happy. Also, this will be a flashback chapter to explain how Hinata got with Naruto. I know I said no more flashback chapters, but this is a necessary. Enjoy. Hinata had always been evil. She was born bad, literally. When she was born, Hiashi, wanting a stronger heir, sealed a fragment of soul edge inside her body. Now how he got it is because he had found it while on Ishin to assassinate a blacksmith who decided to overprice the weapons. Of course, the Hokage didn't send him. It was the council. The blacksmith had offered the fragment in exchange for his life. Hiashi, not seeing the importance in it, killed him anyway. However, after examining it, he quickly sensed its power and secretly took it with him. He then formed the plan to seal it inside his daughter. Not knowing how evil the simple piece of fragment was. It wasn't as simple as that, however, this would take extreme concentration so he wouldn't kill her. He did have an advantage since he had the Byakugan. She didn't have any chakra coils yet, so he assumed the energy would be able to slowly bind with her as she started to develop chakra. He then began to draw a wide open eye on the back of her neck. Since that's strangely the image what came to mind when he held the fragment and sealed it. The only reason he didn't use its power is because it would make the wielder somewhat evil, and since he was raising Hinata, he didn't have to worry about that. However, as Hinata grew up, he reasoned that it was all for nothing and disowned her because of his failure. She grew up to be what he wanted her to be, secretly cruel, merciless, and ruthless. She secretly killed and tortured animals, not wanting to be at risk of being caught killing a human being. She only played the role of weak and timid because she wanted to wait and become head of the family, overthrow Konoha and kill her father. That changed however when she met Naruto. At least, when he met her. On the first day of academy, Naruto immediately sensed a soul edge fragment and saw the faint purple aura around Hinata. He then proposed they team up, or rather Naruto as her master and she as his servant. Naruto didn't tell her that if she refused she'd die and he'd take the soul edge fragment from her body. She surprisingly accepted the deal the moment he asked, wanting only in return to do whatever she wanted, free will you could say. Naruto accepted her terms and that's how their partnership began. He had then begun an ancient technique on her. Its ability was that she would get the weapon based upon her personality. It would be a piece of her soul, much like Soul Edge to Naruto. She would be able to call upon it whenever she wanted it. That's how she got her ring blade, Eisern, which she was delighted to have. She was now 12 and had begun training with the ring blade at the age of 8, and upon doing so, her soul edge fragment reacted with her weapon. She had fell to the ground, out cold. In her mind, she had awoke to find herself in an endless void where darkness surrounded her. She appeared to be floating in midair and was quite afraid, not knowing what was going on. "Hello, is anyone there?" she said aloud. No one answered. She looked in her hand to see she still had the Eisern. However, it wasn't her normal ring blade. It looked like an Ouroboros, an ancient symbol of a dragon or serpent eating its own tail. It was red and had a wide-opened yellow eye with a red pupil at the handle. Suddenly a voice called out to her. "Hinata, Hinata, do you hear me?" said a mysterious dark voice. Hinata looked around frantically for the voice. "Where are you?" she said in a worried tone. "I am the piece of Soul Edge, or as you know me, your Soul Edge fragment. The weapon you are holding is the Soul Edge form of your Eisern. You may use me anytime you want, however I'd suggest you use me in only dire situations. The energy from the sword will drain the energy from you as long as you hold it. There is one good thing to it, though. If you should land a hit on your opponent, be it with your weapon, a melee attack, or by simply grabbing them, you will gain some of their energy. How will I be able to summon you? You will only have to think of me intensely. Now all I ask you to do is to spread as much chaos throughout the land as you can." Hinata smiled and said, "Don't worry. That wish shall always be granted." The soul fragment then pushed her out of her mind, back to the outside world. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.